Hi, it's Kathy. Welcome back to my craft room. Come on in. Today we are working on day 25 of remaking the short Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts from the 100 Days of Envelopes. I've had to re-record this beginning portion of the video because there is some activity going on a couple doors down with heavy equipment, and I didn't realize the house. I guess I kind of tuned it out myself, but it's kind of causing clanking and screeching noises on my video. So I'm just redoing this first portion. So what today is lace. That's the subject of the envelope project. It's a very simple project. So that is why this one was I chose this one to do as a reel, because it's not really technically complicated at all. So this is more like a craft with me. I'm just simply adding some lace, embellishing an envelope, decorating it with some pretty printables, and then adding some lace to it. So nothing super complicated here at all. But again, it's one of those very simple projects that has very big impact, in my opinion. I think it looks great. So what I'm using, that the script page at the back there is from the French documents kit, and then that journal cover page I was just pointing at is from Rose Rebelle, which is a junk journal kit in my Etsy shop, and that was intended to be a junk journal cover. And I just really like that old vintagey, all those brown colors there. So I thought that would be a nice contrast against the script. So I'm going to be gluing this envelope down into the journal. So the face of the envelope, or the front of the envelope, is the side that gets glued down. So we will be decorating the back of the envelope here. And that's what I'm doing right now, is applying glue for that. And what I was discussing here while I was gluing away, I was having a quick discussion about, I was thinking about the reels and why I chose to do some of them as reels, or some of the 100-day projects as reels and some as long form videos. And it got me thinking about technology and how we receive information so quickly. Scrolling, we're getting little snippets and bits and bytes of things, and not, in this case, not getting the full tutorial of what I was doing here, or the full video of how I did that lace project. It's just small little snippets of 3 seconds of video stitched with another 3 seconds, with 4 seconds, with 2 seconds, like all those bits are, or basically I do one long video and then I guess it's the opposite actually. I remove sections of the video so it's not too long, so it fits into a 1-minute reel. So that whole discussion in my own, that I was having with myself, got me thinking about technology, and not to confuse social media with technology, but to view social media, you need some sort of a device. So that's, when I say technology, I'm kind of grouping it all together. So don't come at me when I'm talking about Instagram or YouTube as technology. Obviously, we need some sort of apparatus to view those things. So whether it's your laptop or a tablet or your cell phone, whatever you're using, that is what I was getting at here. So it got me thinking about how fast-paced everything is and how much we receive information at such a high rate of speed. Like, I know myself, I like to watch YouTube videos. I changed the playback speed from normal to 1.25 to 1.5, and even higher sometimes. I think I've told you this before, just so that I can fit more in a day, or get through, like an hour-long video faster. It's just a preference for me. I speed read as well, and it's just the way I absorb information. I know we're all different, and I know that there is just such a contrast to this craft in speed. Now, I do talk about quickie projects here and there, But a simple project like this takes really no time at all. Like this, without me talking, this little project would probably take you 15 minutes. Like it's pretty easy, but you have to have a plan ahead of time, I guess, to have that speed sort of work. So knowing what I was going to do with this envelope today, I knew it would be pretty quick. So with that in mind, I was thinking, technology, we need to use it for good. That's for sure. And it also means something different to different. Some people hate technology. But I think at different chapters in your life, it's suits, you may use it more or less. So a very simple example would be when I was working full time, I might use the convenience of a drive-through. So the technology of the speaker when you pull up and take your order, and then you pay at the window with your debit card, and there somebody made your breakfast. Like there's convenience in technology. Or maybe you wanted to make yourself a coffee at home with your Keurig or something, like a single serve coffee. And instead of a percolated coffee, now I love the smell of a percolated coffee, but it takes longer, obviously. So there's just a time and place for it. And I do like technology. It has afforded me all these options to connect with you, to make new friends in this community, to share my love of junk journaling. The technology that I use on a daily basis, like I'm using my cell phone to record this video. I'm using my laptop to edit the video or to add it to YouTube, create the thumbnail, all those things. So I am grateful for technology, but there is a sharp contrast between the speed of technology and a subject that I wanted to talk to you about today. So before we get into that topic, I want to share with you, just to get you caught up here. So I have decorated I guess technically the back of the envelope, inked the sides. I added a little thumb notch there just for easier access. And right now what I'm doing is adding some of that darker brown paper from the printable from the REBELLE Kit to the flap of the envelope. So keep in mind the actual front of the envelope, which I usually mark with an X, but today I see I did not. That's going to be glued down into the journal, so it's not necessary to cover the front of the envelope. So I'm just trimming along here, and I think at some point, yes, I did cut my envelope. Did we get past that part already? Yeah, I had to reseal. So if you happen to accidentally, when you're trimming off your printable, if you're doing what I'm doing here, or your scrapbook paper, whatever you're using, book page, dictionary page, if you happen to, don't forget, it's not a big deal. You can just, if you happen to cut the side of your envelope and it pops open, you can always just glue that quickly. Not a big deal. I think I do it in almost every project, actually. Okay, there might be a video overlap here, but I'm going to try to jump back to my conversation. Like, unless I intentionally am looking for a calming, quiet, slow background noise while I'm crafting. Like some of my favorite creators, I love their accent, for example, and I just enjoy listening to them chatter and that sort of thing. But it reminded me of the contrast between that fast-paced, scroll, read quick. Does this catch my eye? Did that stop the scroll? Convenience, drive-throughs, quick coffees, all those things. It made me think of the contrast between that, the speed of technology, or the speed that technology allows, contrasted to the joy of slow crafting. You've heard of slow stitching, slow fashion, well, just slow crafting, which to me, that's what this is. I mean, this is not hard, it's not difficult. You just pause and you think of, like I just paused there a moment ago to try to decide what part of the paper to use for my flap. You know, it's just one of the things I really love about junk journaling is the slowness of it. We just live in such a fast-paced world. Our phones are buzzing. There's always something on the to-do list. And this is the opposite of all of that. When I sit down with some papers, scissors, and glue, I can just feel my whole body exhale. It doesn't matter if I just get one page done or just one small project done or just, you know, cut out some ephemera or make a, you know, just sort my papers even. I'm not on a deadline. It's just more about the process and it's not so much about the product. I love sorting through my test prints and just picking pretty papers and then possibly being inspired to do a project just based on the pretty paper alone. That's another reason why I love the versatility of the printables. There we go. Now I'm going to be gluing this down into the journal. So I do not need to decorate the back. If you want it as a floating one, go ahead and decorate the back of your envelope too. Well, I guess technically it's the front of the envelope. But for today's project, for lace, I am going to be gluing this down into my journal. Okay, then for the lace, let's turn it this way. And I've selected this cuteness here. And I just want it to come, you know, peek out enough, not huge, but just some of that scalloped edge. Sticking with the neutrals again. Do you ever find that you can't tell what the front and back is sometimes? I feel like this is, yeah, the front, which I want. I guess I want the front facing that way. That makes sense. And when I put this on, I purposely overhang, do an overhang. So then I can just then trim it to the shape of the envelope itself. I'm using art glitter glue. It works just fine for fabrics and paper adhesion. But you know what else I love? Other than doing the actual craft, is the rituals, I guess, that go with it, like making a cup of tea, or sometimes, like I said, putting on a video for background noise, or maybe sometimes lighting a candle, or another ritual would just be laying out your supplies, like getting your things ready that you're going to use, so putting your lamp on if it's nighttime. Or I enjoy that part of it too. And to me, that is what also makes it slow crafting, which is also part of the joy of slow crafting, is all those little rituals that go with, you know, maybe you like to put on your slippers. Maybe you like to put on some comfy clothes. Maybe you like to take your bra off. Whatever it is that you like, that are part of your rituals. To me, that's all part of the joy of slow crafting. It's the rituals as well. So it's just peeking. Isn't that pretty? That's just pretty. That's precious. Okay, so now I want to trim that one so it shows there, and this one underneath here. That's very pretty. And then in the video I also laid some lace across the bottom. We'll do that too. One of the best parts, though, I think about, or another one of the best parts about slow crafting, or that brings me joy, is that imperfections are actually part of the charm of what we're making. So if you're a vintage style junk journal, especially, like all my printables are vintage style. Those imperfections are actually make things look more authentic, in my opinion. And even though it's again, using technology, you know, using Etsy to invest in a file, and then downloading it to your device, your tablet or your computer, your laptop, whatever, and then printing it on your printer. That's all technology. But see how we can marry the technology with our slow crafting. So we print our printables. We make something look old out of something technically that's new. That's pretty. Now this isn't showing up as well against this light without the contrast of the dark edge here, but I kind of like that. See, that's another one of the things. So it's not matchy, and I guess you could call that a imperfection, but to me it's just another. This lace looks different from this lace completely, even though it's the same lace. Isn't like, do you know what I'm saying? Okay, let's find a spot to put that in our journal, and then we'll make a tag and we'll match some more of that lace. So even if you cut something a little crooked, or you use this little glue smudge here and there, or like here, some of my lines are not even with the gold, this journal becomes more human and less technology, if that makes sense. I don't know how else to explain that. Ooh, kind of like this. I think I want it this way though. I do like that right there. Yep, let's do it. Now I'm going to glue this in like a pocket, like with a top loading pocket. So that will be my top. Yeah, you'll end up sometimes with fingerprints, or I don't know, all the quirky things. But I think all of those things are part of slow crafting. It's not mass produced. It's not made by a machine. It's made by our hands. That's one of the reasons I really love working with old documents and printables. They really carry that sense of history. When you layer them into your journal, you're not just crafting, you're adding another chapter to a story that started long before we did. You know what I mean? Like for example, let me just, speaking of being crooked, a little crooked right there. It's a little too crooked for my liking. That was not charming. Okay, now I need to glue that again. Do you see the strings on this beautiful paper behind me here, or behind the envelope? I think I just need a little extra glue and a little extra real estate with the glue. There we go. Okay, so now we have this, and we have a top loading pocket. So let's make something to go into that pocket as well. We could add something in here. This is folding on me a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. But isn't that pretty? Just using neutrals, a very light colored lace. We layered and we did some beautiful things, and in a nice slow pace. That's the slow crafting. But this document, for example, this ledger, this letter, like that's from some of them 1800s, even late 1700s, some of them 1800s, early 1900s. That had a purpose back then, and now I'm using that image of that document to add to my junk journal to give it a vintage feel. I love that part of this, how printables allow us to do that with our slow crafting. It's really great to have the old papers too, but you know, once they're gone, they're gone. Here I can use that same page 900 different ways in my journals. Tags, belly bands, full journal pages. I can make a old letter. I can wrap a little notebook or a little matchbook, or there's so many different things you can do with that. I can use it as a background. I can use it as a frame. So many things. But yes, using the old images and the old papers give you a sense of history, and it gives you a sense of looking back, which gives us, again, that sense of slow crafting. So it's not just about making something pretty. It's about creating a space for myself. I'm present in the moment. I'm enjoying each little step along the way. You know, I do get frustrated here and there, of course, like we all might, but that's a little small. I'll find one of those large tags. Let's use one of these guys. How about this one with the trees? I think that's quite lovely. But yeah, it just got me to thinking that while I do enjoy technology, and it's because of technology that I'm able to sit here and chat with you right now about slow crafting, it's I really am team both, I guess. You know how my stance, I'm sure by now you know, I am not a fan of art generated by AI, unless it's for the purposes of an advertisement or a poster, or, you know. But I do not like AI generated printables. It's just not my thing. I just personally do not agree with someone typing a prompt, a command into an AI app and say, make me some junk journal pages with a lavender theme with bunnies. And there it is. I guess I'm just old school, where I think you should source your own lavender images and source your own, if you're doing graphic design, source your own and create something yourself. Now, sharing things that are in the public domain, that's different. That is in the public domain, depending on what country you're in, 75 years to 100 years of the creator. Oh, that, look at crooked. That's one thing I learned working at the archives. There might be a photograph of, oh, say somebody's grandparents. And you think, oh, well, they must be long gone now. That must be past 75 years now. But what if the photographer that took the picture was only 28 years old? It's the photographer that took the picture. It's his art, technically. It's not about the how many years have passed since the grandparents. It's how many years have passed since that photographer. Yeah, it's not just because you see a picture of old people doesn't mean it's in the public domain yet. So, all right, that's so cute, and that's a little bit long, but you get the idea here. So let's try that one more time. So those are a little more upright this way. I'm gonna do the same thing on me. Yeah. But yeah, I just want to share my thoughts there about slow crafting, and I think junk journaling definitely fits into slow crafting for all those things I mentioned. Picking your papers, setting up your supplies, getting ready to sit down to craft, all of it. And then of course making, like we are right now. There. So there's a few different ways to use lace. Let's create something for there. These envelopes that were all chopped off the top, I need to start using making good use of these. So I think I'll back it onto some paper here. Let's just make like an invoice, let's say, and trim that, and then we'll use that in our pockets. Just the ledger portion of it. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts about why you enjoy, with respect to slow crafting. I would love to hear the aspects of it that you love. What do you love most about? Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say one of the best things is all the friends I've made, because I have a very small circle of friends until, like, personal friends in my personal life. Literally very small. I don't have a best friend. I guess my closest best friend is my daughter, my adult daughter. So making friends with so many of you here online has just been a real godsend for me. I'm just not a people-y person. I don't enjoy social situations, and I don't like going to bars. I don't like, I mean, back in the day, I remember doing stuff like that, and I always felt uneased. I never felt comfortable. Never. Don't like crowds. So I love the sanctity of my craft room. I really do. Yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on what you love about junk journaling from the lens of it being slow crafting. There, we made a little, just now we have a little writing space, and back that on one of those envelope papers so it's a little bit sturdy, and we'll just slide that in here. Perfect. There we go. Okay, well, that was day 25, lace. I really love this, doing this with the flaps. I think that's really pretty. So adorable. It looks nice on this side. Doing it there, adding it to your tags, of course, so it matches, and yet all three of these, although they're the same lace, look somewhat different in the way they were used. Well, thanks for joining me again today, day 25. Next up is day 26, which was negative space. And I laugh about that one because using the word negative actually really suppressed that reel, and it didn't get near the views until I started talking about that the other reels got. Anyways, using just the word negative. So but I don't know what else to call it, so you'll see. Tomorrow we're going to do negative space. So I think today will end up being 2 videos, just because I have more time now. Yeah, so I'm going to today tidy up my craft room because it is a disaster. I usually try to have it tidied up every night so when I come back in, but I've been the antique booth, all the things. It's just lately, it's just a bit of an explosion around here. So I am looking forward to, I don't have anything else going on this week, so I am looking forward to getting my craft room back in order, sorting out those stamps. I'm going to return to sorting the goodies for the journal I'm making there. I mentioned it before, the custom journal I'm working on, and I want to share that process with you too. So I think I'll do a video about that. But so thank you for joining me today, and tomorrow, if you want to come back for negative space, that's the next video I'm going to remake. I'm thinking this is kind of chunky and perhaps we should start with a new journal as well. So maybe I will work on that. Yeah, maybe that'll be the next video, just putting together a neutral journal, because this one is pretty full. What do you think? She's pretty full. Yeah, she's full. She's about ready for a closure, I think. Okay, well, thank you for joining me today. I will see you tomorrow. I look forward to hanging out. Take care. Bye.